How to expose the household foes. Number one, avoid the way of iniquity. Nothing helps diabolism like iniquity. Nothing helps charm like iniquity. Nothing helps wicked men to flourish in their wickedness like the iniquity of a man. In Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 25, your iniquity have turned away these things, and your sins have withheld good from you. The way of iniquity is the way of calamity. Nothing exposes you to calamity like iniquity. Hosea chapter 7 verse 1, the Bible said, when I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim showed up, and the wickedness of Samaria, for they committed falsehood, thieving, and robbery. So one of the cheapest way for these diabolisms to get you is living a sinful life. Avoid living a sinful life. Avoid the way of iniquity. Iniquity is a sinker of men. Number two, deploy and embrace uprightness. Live a life of truth. Be true to yourself, be true to society, and be true to God. Be true to your family, be true to yourself. Isaiah 33 verse 15, the Bible said, he that walks righteously speaks uprightly. Do you see that there is a way to walk righteously and there is a way to speak uprightly? He that despises the gain of oppression, he shakes his hands from holding of bribes. He stops his ear from hearing of what? Bloodshed, and shut his eyes from seeing evil. He shall dwell on high. The dwelling on high means that it is beyond what? Harm. Because there is a realm you can dwell, and that realm is beyond harm. It is the realm of uprightness. You may not know, but the way of uprightness is the way of heights in life. Can you imagine a bulldog barking and barking at a man on the height of a story building, about on the 50th floor, and the dog is down there barking? It is inconsequential on that man on high there. So when you live an upright life, the devices of the wicked notwithstanding, you are at peace. You are safe. No matter what they do, you would always come out. I'm telling you. No matter how they strike, even if they take you by surprise, you find yourself living in safety. And you know what? He says, that man shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be in the munitions of rock. Have you seen that? That means that you live the life of a honey badger or a rock badger. Have you ever seen a honey badger eating the enemy, eating a snake, a live snake? That is how uprightness is. No matter the diabolism against you, your place of defense is the munitions of rock. Nothing can take you by surprise. Nothing. And you know what? When your place of defense is the munitions of rock and your place of dwelling is on high, your water and your bread is sure. You can't die hunger. Bread will be given him. His waters shall be sure. Number three, take a stand for God in life everywhere you find yourself. If you want your enemies to be exposed, never condone the principles of God. Never sabotage the principles of God. Never manipulate the principles of God to suit your life. Esther's uncle, who was called Mordecai, stood for God. If not because of his position in God, he would have been long time gone. Mordecai was a man who stood for God. Whether eyes were watching or eyes were not watching, he was an upright man. He stood for God. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. For the king had commanded concerning him, and this command was not really by the king's heart. It was because he has bewitched the king. So watch this. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence him. And the people now began to talk with him. The other guys began to talk with him. Why didn't you bow? And he told them, I'm a Jew, to see whether Mordecai matter will stand. For he had told them he was a Jew, and therefore does not bow to people. And they told Mordecai. Now it came to pass, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then Haman was full of wrath. But you see, if the eyes of the owner of the chicken can kill the chicken will not eat the corn. But eyes does not kill. So the chicken will come back and eat it, and the owner would yet it will come back again. Why? Because eyeing doesn't kill. So he was rough, and then he began to mark him. But because he was an upright man, all his devices failed. Even though he did a charm for 12 months, it finally turned on him. You remember the same command came from Nebuchadnezzar that everybody should bow before the golden image. There were 3 men that said we will not bow. At the end of the episode, the Bible said the king now issued a new command. Anybody who will not reverence the God of what? Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, what will happen to him? They shall be killed, and they'll be put in the fire of the furnace. Number 4, prayer with fastings. You know, Esther and Mordecai, they fasted. Esther chapter 4 verse 3, the Bible said, and in all the province where the king's command and his decree came, that is the first letter Haman wrote, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fastings, and weepings, and wailings, and many lay in sackcloth and in ashes. So even before Esther could now ask for a 3-day dry fast for every Jew, the people were fasting. Because as at that time, Esther didn't even know that this was a decree that has gone out. So when the people received the letters, they began to fast. Verse 4. So Esther maid and her chamberlains came and told Esther what they saw Mordecai and the rest of the people doing. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to Mordecai. And Mordecai said, my daughter, it's not about a matter of raiment. I'm in sackcloth because I'm fasted. Something is happening behind you. He said, what? They now narrated the whole thing. Verse 6. And so now, when this guy, Hatak, went forth to Mordecai onto the street of the city, which was before the king gate, Mordecai told him everything. How Haman has paid money into the king's treasury for all the Jews to be destroyed. When Esther heard it, he said, go back, tell Mordecai, everyone should fast for 3 days without food. And Esther spake unto Haggag and gave him command unto Mordecai. And all the king's servants and the people of the king's providence do whatsoever whether a man or woman shall come into the king. Verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. But Mordecai still talked and said he should not think that he himself will escape. Verse 14. Then Esther bade them return to Mordecai and answer, go gather the people together in Shushan, all the Jews. Fast ye for me, eat not nor drink 3 days, night and day. And I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so after the fasting, I will go unto the king. If I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to that Esther had commanded him. They fasted, and after they fasted, the charm of Mordecai began to lose its power. Anybody who has buried any substance or has traveled to a shrine to deploy wickedness against you and against me and against this house, it will turn on them.